Welcome to the Survivor Live Reunion Show. We're here with all 16 players, but most importantly, we're here with Barbara, the first ever LEGO Survivor winner. Barbara, how are you feeling? You just won $1 million, got 4 jury votes that were needed to win the game. I'm at a complete loss for words right now. You can see me grinning from ear to ear. Oh my gosh, I was not expecting to actually pull that off. I thought Daniel was winning. So you thought Daniel was winning even after the final tribal council? I thought it was going to be really close between us, but ultimately I thought Daniel was going to win, and just seeing that I won is a complete shock. Again, that doesn't go without saying that Danny also put in a lot of effort because we fought to the bitter end. Danny, if I could get your perspective on this, you came up 1 vote away from winning $1 million and the title of Sole Survivor. That 1 vote is going to haunt me for the rest of my life. I came up so close to winning that $1 million, but I know Barbara deserves to win it. She put in a lot of effort as well. I congratulate her. Well, even though you didn't win the game, Danny, there's still a lot of other things to be proud of, such as the amount of records you set this season. In fact, I'm going to read from a list of them right now. Brother. The most individual challenges won with 6 total, the most idols found this season with 2, you negated the most votes with an idol, 5, and you had the most votes cast against you this season with 10 votes. So clearly there is a lot that you accomplished this season that others can't even get close to. I mean, it is very possible that all of these records could be broken the very next season, but knowing that I set the benchmark for these records now is definitely a very accomplishing feeling. Now, before we move on, I just gotta ask the jury this because I'm always super curious at the outcomes of the season. What would happen if instead of Barbara at the final tribal council, Danny decided to take Jeremiah to the tribal council? So now Barbara's on the jury, Jeremiah versus Danny. Who is voting for Jeremiah? Let's see, we got Connor, Georgia, and Carrie. So Danny, $1 million decision costed you the $1 million. That's gonna haunt me for the rest of my life, Jeff. Oh man. Barbara, that means you got pretty lucky when Danny decided to take you over Jeremiah. Well, I also feel like I've done the necessary work to get Danny back on my good side and get him to actually trust me in this game. I made him think that he could beat me in the end, and I knew I had a pretty good chance of beating him. Even when the odds were stacked against me, I still got taken to the end. And I put in a lot of work and effort into making sure that I was the one in that second position. I was not going to take 3rd place or 4th or anything before that. I was going to take 1st. Well, it clearly paid off because you're now $1 million richer. You're right, Jeff. I have $1 million and it's going to help me and my family. I want to start talking to Stacy. Stacy went through a lot of pain and trouble this season, and yet she still kept going strong and she became a dominant force in this game. Stacy, how are you able to keep going no matter what you faced? I just kept telling myself, it's $1 million, it's $1 million, and that honestly kept me going. The motivation to win this $1 million and to become the sole survivor. I mean, it's a dream of mine since I was a little girl to be on Survivor, and getting this opportunity to be here and compete has just been a dream come true of mine. I wasn't going to throw it away for anything, and they were going to have to pull me out of here on a stretcher if they wanted to evacuate me. So in the end, you voted for Barbara. What made you vote for her over Danny? Well, me and Barbara played very similar games, and I definitely have to give her a lot of credit for the moves she made because I was there alongside her as well. And when she voted me out at Final 4, I knew I would have done the exact same thing if it came down to it, so I have nothing against Barbara for voting me out. I want to talk to Carrie real quick. Carrie, you are a very popular player. You were voted out at the Final 6, and then in the end you voted for Barbara to win over Danny. Why did you vote for Barbara? Well, it's true that Barbara didn't make as many flashy moves as Danny did, but that's not the point. The point is to be under the radar and hide yourself from the big threats, and that's what I think Barbara did. She perfected that. And I definitely have to give credit for Barbara because I had no idea how big of a threat she was until it was too late. And then suddenly I was trying to vote her out, but she kind of already had her alliance formed and was always 2 steps ahead of me. Carrie, another interesting aspect this season was your relationship with Jeremiah and how an unlikely alliance was formed between you and him. Yeah, at the time I was aligned with Tori and I wasn't really looking to go far with her. So I knew I could trust Jeremiah because he was in a position of desperation. So he was looking for an alliance partner, just anyone to talk to or trust. And I knew I could provide myself as that role. He'd be loyal to me throughout the rest of the game. And he pretty much was all the way up until I was voted out. So You could tell how that worked out perfectly in my favor. I want to hear Jeremiah's perspective on this. Was your and Carrie relationship like personal, or was it all just part of the game? I mean, of course it was personal. I had found this deep, fond connection with Carrie, and if she betrayed her trust in any way, I would be absolutely heartbroken. And you know me, I can take heartbroken things very seriously, so... But apparently, Carrie was always loyal to me, and we made a great duo together. Unfortunately, she was voted out way too early, and we didn't go to the end of the game together, unfortunately. Outside the game, me and Carrie are still very close friends, and I'm glad that I found someone like her because she's just been super caring. Well, there were many other important relationships this season, including the relationship between Wayne and Danny. Although in this relationship, Danny turned on Wayne at the final 5. Wayne, what was your shock to Danny blindsiding you? Danny got me good. I was completely put off guard by Danny turning on me. I thought us four were going to the end together, and Jeremiah was the next to go. So you could say Jeremiah got really lucky when it turns out I was going to the jury instead of him. I just wanted to ask you this because I was confused why you decided to vote for Georgia at the final 7. I thought I explained it on the show. Well, anyway, Georgia was the one I was least connected to, and Danny actually wanted to get rid of Stacy or Barbara, and I did not want to get rid of Stacy or Barbara because I was relatively closely aligned with those two. And so, in order to hurt the least amount of chances of making it to the end, I got rid of the person who I was not connected with at all, which was Georgia. So it just ended up being her, and I would have liked for Georgia to stay in the game. She would have been easy to beat in the end. No offense. But yeah, it was either a close ally or her, and she had to go. Alright, well, when we come back, we're going to talk to the rest of our cast, including Tori, one of the most infamous Survivor players, and we only have one season so far. Stay tuned, more Survivor Reunion show after this. Special thanks to LEGO Game Show Studios. They have been a huge inspiration. I would not be here without them. Welcome back to the Survivor Live Reunion Show. Let's get right back in it. And Tori, man, you are one of the most eccentric players this entire season. For 7 episodes, you managed to become America's most notorious villain. Tori, how do you feel about this? Do you feel happy? Do you feel nervous? What are you feeling? I feel okay about this. I was expecting a booing crowd. I was pretty hated throughout the entire season, and that's just the role I fell into. I didn't want to be the villain or the bad guy, but I guess the circumstances provided made me fall into that category. So Tori, are you really a villain in real life, or were you playing it up on the show? I was playing it up a little bit. I knew I was cocky, I knew I was arrogant, and I wanted people around me to know that as well. I wanted people to think that I wasn't going to go to the end, that I was probably going to crash and burn. And I wanted to prove them wrong when I got to that final tribal council and said, this is the move I did and this is what got me to the end. I wanted to come out with a yelling personality. And then you got voted out right before the jury. Unfortunately, it went a little too well, and I did crash and burn at the merge, but hey, it worked for a while, so, I mean, it's possible if I come back for a second time, I might try it again. Well, I just have to say, you were very entertaining this season. Hero or villain, you definitely knew how to put on a show. Melanie, you were on the receiving end of one of Tori's blindsides. Did it shock you when you were blindsided by her? I mean, of course. I mean, wouldn't you be shocked if you were blindsided by Tori? I thought I was working with her to the end, and she got me good when she turned around and managed to get the entire tribe to vote me out. I mean, I'm honored, but at the same time, I was, like, in total disbelief. Abe, you were also responsible for blindsiding Melanie that episode. Did you feel the guilt after you voted her out? I didn't feel guilt. I felt shame. Now, there's a difference between guilt and shame. Guilt is when you believe your actions are not in line with who you are. Shame is when you believe that your mistakes make you who you are. And I made a horrible mistake in voting out Melanie that episode, and I regret it completely. You can tell I'm ranting on, Jeff, about regretting the decision I made. Of course, at the end of the day, there's no going back once you make that decision, and I just had to live by it. Melanie, do you forgive Abe for voting you out that night? Of course I forgive Abe. He had a game to play, and he knew that he had to get rid of me in order to stay in the Girls Alliance, and I don't blame him one bit for voting me out. In fact, I congratulate him for voting me out. That was a pretty good move. Let's move on to someone else. Cole, you were in charge of a massive alliance. You dominated throughout the post-merge, and then you get blindsided by your own allies. Yeah, that was a shock, especially for me, since I thought that everyone in my alliance was unwavering and that we had even more numbers from the other tribe. Man, I was wrong when I got my torch snuffed. Looking back, I had a feeling that Danny had something to do with this, and he's really smart, and I knew that we had to get rid of him sooner or later. Yes, when he did, interrogate me, I knew that that was very suspicious, but unfortunately, we never did take that opportunity to, and he got me first. Do you regret any of the moves that you made? No, I had a lot of fun. I wouldn't change it for anything. I would get blindsided 1,000 times, then have a different experience. Well, let's talk to somebody else who would probably want their experience to be different. Georgia. Oh, well, hi, Jeff. Throughout the season, you were the punching bag by everyone in the season. In fact, we have a few clips that we're gonna show you. Roll the tape. Wait, what tape? Georgia, pick up the pace. Don't yell at me, Bryce. It's gonna be Georgia. What? I'm not sitting out. Just sit out, Georgia. I'm not gonna sit out the challenge. Who never shuts up? Everyone said Georgia except for Georgia, who said Wayne. Georgia has made barely any progress in this challenge. And Georgia drops. Georgia's out of the challenge. Last second, Georgia drops out of the challenge. And Georgia drops her ball. Georgia's out of the challenge. Georgia was not selected by any team. This is why I hate balance beams. Man, is that how often I argue with Bryce? Yeah, there's a lot to look into. And a lot that I'm not very proud of. Georgia, by the looks of it, you weren't the only entertaining one on Pascua. Yeah, and I thought I was the annoying one. Despite it looking like I had a horrible time, I had a lot of fun out there. And even though I suffered, especially at that one time when I missed out on the reward challenge, still holding a grudge, Connor, I still had the time of my life out there, and I would love to do it again if I ever get the opportunity to. What would you change on your second time around? First of all, I would shut up and stop being annoying. And second off, I would probably connect more, argue less, you know. I mean, I don't have a whole game plan set yet, but just know that I'm going to be a new Georgia my second time around. You could potentially win the game, or I could snuff your torch. Yeah, I could either win the game or get voted out first. Hopefully it's not the latter. Alright, we're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to talk to the rest of the cast, as well as view the sneak peek for our second season of LEGO Survivor. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss this one. Special thanks to LEGO Survivor Studio. They have been a huge inspiration. I would not be here without them. Welcome back to the Survivor Live Reunion Show. We have all 16 players here. Let's talk to Connor. Hello, Jeff. It's great to be here. So I have to ask, during the whole Georgia ordeal, did you have any idea you were feuding with her? I was pretty oblivious, and I regret not saying anything to Georgia. I think I was too caught up in the game to notice that Georgia was pretty hurt by my decision to not take her on that reward. But I did stand by my decision. At least until I got voted out, but I mean, we all make mistakes, and I should have just not ignored Georgia. Georgia, what was your view on Connor after he made that decision to not take you on the reward? Well, first off, I felt pissed, and I knew I had to blow steam off, so you saw me chop that tree in the water. But it also gave me a lot of time to reflect on myself and be like, what am I doing with my life? Man, I need to rethink my life choices, and arguing over a little reward is not how I should act in real life. So in a way, I thank Connor for teaching me that I just need to learn to take a chill pill in life and to realize that, hey, things aren't going to go my way, but it'll still be okay in the end. Well, Connor, that's got to be good to hear. It appears that Georgia forgave you for making that decision. Yeah, I think Georgia's a pretty great person, and I accept her apology. So, Connor, you were the other player who found an idol this season. However, things did not work out as well as Danny did, and you ended up misplaying your idol. Don't remind me, Jeff. At that tribal council, I swear the girls were all voting for me. They did a really good job convincing me that I was next to go. So I played my idol thinking it was gonna be like a big giant move and Tori was gonna get blindsided. No, Abe was blindsided and I was in complete shock. I was happy that I wasn't going, but I just wasted an idol right there that I could have used towards a future tribal council. It almost in a way contradicts Danny, who had an idol he didn't even need to play. Yeah, Jeff, I still got the idol right here, and it's been a great souvenir so far. It's been sitting on my shelf in my house. At least I didn't get voted out with the idol in my pocket, so there is that reassurance. Let's go talk to Alfred. You were constantly looking for the idol on the show, but you never did find one, and all it did was further isolate yourself from the rest of your tribe. Early on, why did you choose to separate yourself? I made a really stupid move, Jeff. I thought that if I found the idol day one, that would give me a lot of power in this game. But in fact, all it did was make sure that I would be one of the first to go. It's one of my biggest regrets in this game, and if I got the chance to play again, I would never go looking for the idol anymore. I didn't realize it until then, but social relationships matter a lot more than any amount of idols. I feel like that is similar to my game. I did prioritize looking for idols more than making social relationships. I did try to have an early connection with everyone, but I just don't feel like I got that same connection as Barbara did with everyone else. So you're saying that Barbara's social strategy was able to beat you in the end? Well, I did prioritize making actual relationships than looking for the idol. I barely looked for the idol. Let's talk to Nina. So for 12 days, you were out in the elements and you were suffering out there more than Stacy did. What do you take away from your time on Survivor? Oh, I'm never going camping again. Survivor chewed me up and spit me out. I was not prepared to face the heat, to face the elements, to face the strangers. Oh, sleeping with them every night, it was barbaric, but I mean, I had a lot of fun at the same time, but I thought I was going to be evacuated at some point. I was nervous. I think I can speak for the cast when I say that it was very hot out there during filming. About everyone was suffering out there, including our own production team. That's how dangerous it was in the Wild West. I probably should have stayed home. It was a lot more than I bargained for. So you forgive your tribe for voting you out? I think they were doing me a solid. I don't think I could last another day out there. I think that vote was a mercy vote, and I kind of thank them for doing that because I don't think I would have lasted any longer. Bryce, you were only on for 2 episodes, yet you managed to become a very controversial person, especially your relationship with Georgia. So what was the deal? Were you just in a bad mood, or did Georgia forcefully make you in a bad mood? You try living with Georgia and see how it goes. I did not have a good time out there. I was suffering as well as everyone else here, but Georgia just yapping the whole time. Oh my gosh, she just would not stop, and I thought Tori was annoying. Tori was pretty good at this game. I'm surprised she got more attention than Georgia. I think Georgia should have been gone before her. As you saw in the clips, you and Georgia argued quite a bit. What was this main stem of your arguments from? Well, she couldn't cross the balance beam, and that just pissed me off. I wanted to win that fishing gear, and she blew it for us, and then when we got back to camp, she just made the situation a whole lot worse. So that obviously put a divide between me and Georgia's relationship that we never managed to fix, and she got the best of me because she had a better alliance. Well, I do also think that it's Bryce's fault that he decided to further engage in the arguing. Like, he could have just straight up ignored me and I would have been okay with that, but he decided to escalate the situation and made it worse than it needed to be. Well, I do apologize for the way I acted. I knew I should not have said those things towards you, and I regret ever yelling at you or making you feel uncomfortable in those situations. Yeah, I also apologize to Bryce for further escalating the situation. Again, as I'm trying to change into a newer person, I'm learning from my mistakes, and this was one of the biggest mistakes I ever made. Well, I'm glad you guys both made up. Well, we have time to talk to one more person, and Charlotte, where to begin with you? You came out of this game hard, and then all of a sudden you became the first person voted out of Survivor Wild West. What do you feel like you could have done to change that position? Well, I came out of the gate way too hard, and I made an alliance with Wayne, and I immediately targeted Alfred, and I do think that's my first mistake, was going after Alfred way too early. Everyone was afraid to make a big move, and I was not afraid. I had the guts to make a big move. The tribe was just threatened by that, and they voted me out first over Wayne, and I do feel like I could have won this game had I made it to the end. I just needed to get the right footing, and I unfortunately stumbled day one and I got voted out first. I'm not proud of it at all, but at the same time, I do have to take it and admire it. You could say it was an achievement of being the first person voted out. Somebody was going to be the first person voted out, and it ended up being me. Well, I couldn't have thought of a better way to say it. You're welcome, Jeff. I had a lot of time to reflect, and I'm overall happy about it. I mean, playing on Survivor is truly a blessing. I would rather get voted out first 1,000 times than never play this game. Yeah, same. I'd rather get voted out first than win the game. The experience is truly the best part about Survivor. Couldn't have said it better myself. Alright, we're gonna take a little break. When we come back, we're going to show you the sneak peek for where we are going next, as well as reveal the fan favorite of the season and the winner of the extra $100,000 prize. Don't go away. This is the Survivor Live Reunion Show. Special thanks for Nothing to See Here. They have been a huge inspiration. I would not be here without them. Welcome back to the Survivor Live Reunion Show. Now we have 2 more orders of business before we close out the night, and the first one is the Fan Favorite Award. The person who receives the most votes for the Fan Favorite Award wins $100,000 courtesy of the Survivor LEGO Edition Studio. Since last episode, viewers have been voting, and they have spoken. Now, ultimately, the race was pretty spread out, but it eventually came down to 2 people. Danny and Carrie. What separated you two was one single vote. I will now announce who won the Fan Favorite Award. The winner of the Fan Favorite Award and the $100,000 coming down to by 1 vote is Carrie. Congratulations, Carrie. How are you feeling? You just won an extra $100,000. It feels amazing knowing that I was the fan favorite of the season and that I was able to win myself $100,000 that can go towards me and my family. I would just like to thank the audience as well as everyone watching that you're awesome. I mean, there were 17 total votes, and Carrie only won with 4 votes. That's how spread out the entire Fan Favorite Award was. Almost everyone was a contender to win $100,000. That's how popular the season is, and the cast that makes it popular. Barbara, last question. What has Survivor meant to you? Man, that's a tough question, but ultimately I would have to say the experience and what I went through throughout these 39 days. I got to meet a lot of new people, I got to play a game that I've been longing to play, and I got to survive out in the elements. It was not fun at times, but it was ultimately worth it in the end if I knew that I was going to win $1 million. And I think I can speak for all of us when we say that this was probably an amazing season, and I'm going to miss this season. We're all going to miss this season, trust me, Jeff. Alright, we got one more item of business. Unfortunately, cast, you are going to have to say goodbye to this season because another season is right around the corner. Here is your first look at what we are doing next. Survivor is back. Getting the call to be on Survivor, I immediately jumped off my couch and packed my bags. I was ready to go. This is the adventure of a lifetime. You might never get this opportunity again. You only have one shot of winning $1 million. These 16 castaways have volunteered to be abandoned in the islands of Comoros. I put in the work, I put in the hours, I am here to get paid. I don't see anyone else winning this game, except me. They don't look tough. They're gonna go one by one, right out the door. I'm typically an indoor person. I spent my entire life indoors. I've rarely gone out of my comfort zone. Heck, I don't even have my driver's license yet. I take the subway to work. It's the greatest reality competition to exist. If you're not first, you're last. I don't care if feelings are hurt, that money will be mine. Might as well write that check in my name. Go! I'm here to prove that someone like me, who comes from a struggling immigrant family, can win this game. But whoever does win at the end, they're gonna have to work every single second for it. It's Survivor Moon Islands, coming soon. And there you have it. This is the end of Survivor Wild West. It's gonna be sad to miss this season, but we will see you next time for Survivor Moon Islands. Good night. In fact, let's do one more sneak peek. Here's your first look at the Tribal Council for Survivor Moon Islands, featuring a special guest.
Because when you're at Tribal Council, there is a vote, and there's going to be a vote, so you can take a seat.
I'm not prepared for this.
Well, you should have been. Okay, here's the deal, Parvati. I'm not gonna lie, you are one of the best to have ever played this game. You deserve all the accolades that you get, but there are a lot of people that want you gone. You've played 3 times. I've got to snuff your torch once, and I've never got to vote for you. So, on behalf of all the guys who you have either broken their heart or you never even gave them a shot, this is for them. It's so time for you to go. If anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
I'm gonna play it, Jeff.
You have an idol?
You think I'd come to Tribal without an idol? Not with these people, not with you. You can check it, it's authentic.
This is a hidden immunity idol. Any votes cast for Parvati will not count. I'll read the vote. Parvati.
Who's responsible?
Me.
You?
I voted for you.
So then it's you. The idol gets bounced back and you get voted out.
Yep.
So I snuff your torch.
Yep. I'll go get it.
It's really happening.
I just have to say, if it had to go down this way, I'm glad it was you.
Probst. The tribe has spoken.
This really hurts.
Get out of here.
Wow. Wonder if the X Factor needs a host.